franchise around and made it to the NBA playoffs for the first time in 4 years. And Patrick Ewing has gone from promising big man to promise kept. But the road to the Eastern Conference Championship is a train track. Next stop, Boston Garden. And in the Garden, playoff hopes can get derailed.
Bird steals it.
The Knicks and the Celtics. It's game one of their series and game one of our NBA doubleheader. In game two.
And welcome to the Boston Garden for tonight's Eastern Conference Best of 5 playoff opener between the New York Knicks and the Boston Celtics. I'm Pete Van Wieren. Joining me this year on the playoffs, and we're happy to have him with us on TBS Sports, a man who was a part of 5 of the 16 championship teams here in Boston, a longtime coach with the Bucks, now a coach and executive with the Golden State Warriors, Don Nelson. Don, good to have you with us.
Thanks, Pete. I'm really looking forward to this ball game.
I saw a quote from you a couple of days ago where you picked these Boston Celtics to go all the way this year. Tell us why you made that selection.
Pete, I think Boston can win the World Championship again. And I think a couple of reasons. First of all, Casey Jones has done a marvelous job of resting this ball club. Their front line is rested and feeling real good about themselves. Kevin McHale is at his peak. Bird is rested, and of course Parish is playing very well. Dennis Johnson's also making his jump shot, and Ainge is having his best year.
Well, that's pretty good reasoning there. The New York Knicks, of course, just did sneak in. They qualified in the final day, their final game, to that number 8 spot in the Eastern Conference. They play the Celtics. The winner of this series goes on to play the winner of the Atlanta-Milwaukee series. And New York, Don, seemed to be peaking at just about the right time. They saved their best basketball for the stretch drive.
They have. No one would have thought they could have made the playoffs about mid-season. But from mid-season on, they won 60% of their ball games and snuck in the last day of the season. They're primed, they're ready to roll, they're very confident in their ability right now, and nobody wanted to play the Knicks in the playoffs.
The Knicks also won 5 of their last 7 games on the road after really struggling on the road early in the year, so it's going to be interesting to see whether this New York team is able to give the Boston Celtics a game here in the first of the 5-game series tonight. And right now, let's go back to our studios where Craig Sager is standing by. Craig?
Well, thank you very much, Pete.
The New York Knicks will line up Green, Walker, and Ewing up front. Their fine rookie Mark Jackson, joined by Gerald Wilkins in the backcourt. Rick Pitino, in his first NBA season, did a great sales job on this team, teaching them a pressure-type defense, which they maintained all season long. And that familiar combination for the Celtics, McHale, Bird, Parish, Johnson, and Danny Ainge. Casey Jones in his 8th NBA season, a terrific winning percentage, most of those victories here with this Boston Celtic team. And our referees tonight, Earl Strom and Paul Mihalik, worked the game. Mike Lauerman is the alternate. As usual, a capacity crowd here at the Boston Garden, Don, and tell us a little bit about this place and what it means for a playoff game.
It's one of the hardest places to win a ball game, especially in the playoffs. As long as that guy sitting behind us, Red Auerbach, is around here, for some reason when it's playoff time, it's Celtic time.
Rick Pitino saying earlier today, I'm sure the temperature in our locker room will be a little bit warmer than it will be in theirs. The heat will probably be turned down. All sorts of little tricks have been pulled in this building.
Yes, and I think Auerbach used to do that himself, although he probably has somebody else to do it now for him.
We are set to get underway from the Garden, and it's controlled by the Celtics. Dennis Johnson has Wilkins on him. Several of these Celtics, nursing minor injuries near the end of the season, were able to get some well-earned rest down the stretch.
I think the only legitimate injury probably was Larry Bird. I think Casey was trying to find a way to rest the other guys. The league wouldn't allow that, and I think that's a credit to our league.
Danny Ainge, three-point territory, no. McHale, blocked by Ewing. Ainge gets it back. Bird to McHale in the paint. McHale spin move and gets the first basket of the game.
Oh, he's really something. He's leading the league in field goal percentage, and that just shows you why.
Gerald Wilkins with the ball now, guarded by Dennis Johnson. Patrick Ewing, who has really come into his own this year.
It's interesting, Pete. They did not double team Ewing that time. You would expect the double team because they were so successful, teams who did that against the Knicks. But Boston seemed to play him straight up that time.
Key to New York's success this year has been their defense, a pressing defense that just never stops from one end of the game to the other. Danny Ainge puts the Celtics back on top by 2 with his first basket. And Mark Jackson, first-round draft pick out of St. John's, who is odds-on favorite to be the Rookie of the Year, dishing off to Wilkins, who hits.
What a pick by Dickie McGuire for the Knicks to pick him. I think he was 18th in the country. A lot of people passed him up. He's probably a shoe-in for Rookie of the Year.
Down low to Parish.
Actually, Pete, that was a good move by Ewing not to pick up that foul. He was at a disadvantage, and he just let Parish go ahead and make the layup as opposed to fouling him.
Jackson off to Wilkins. Wilkins trying to get hot here early. Gets his second basket in a row. And that ties the game at 6. Quickly down the court, Dennis Johnson won't go for him. Cleared by New York, off to Jackson. Wilkins couldn't get that one to fall. Danny Ainge, length of the court to Dennis Johnson, should have an easy 2. And does.
That's a cherry pick, and that still works no matter what level.
So it is a 2-point Boston lead. Kenny Walker hitting his first 2 of the night, ties the game at 8. Both teams on a hot pace here early. And a whistle. Sidney Green called for his first. That's the team's second. Bird inbounds it to Dennis Johnson. 9.5 minutes to go. First quarter. Larry Bird can't get it to fall. Ewing pulls it away for the Knicks, off to Jackson. Ewing sets the pick. Walker open again from the baseline. Parish the rebound.
It's so important, Pete, that the Knicks make their outside shots. They're not a good outside shooting team, and at the beginning of this game, it looked like they were going to make them. That was the first poor shot tonight.
Look at that pass from Bird to Johnson. Off to Danny Ainge, open in the corner. Couldn't get it to fall, though. Ewing clears for the Knicks, off to Jackson. Jackson dishing off to Wilkins in traffic, and we're going to get a whistle. Ainge and Bird were both there.
The Knicks have got to score in the transition game if they're going to win tonight. They must convert either by being fouled or by converting the field goal in the open court. So far, they're 1 for 2.
Gerald Wilkins at the line. A 79% free throw shooter on the year. He averaged 17 points a game this year. He now has 5 points.
He has had a fantastic year. He has an awful lot of great physical skills, and he's starting to learn the game. Every year I see him, he gets a little bit better at understanding the game of basketball.
Wilkins makes them both. He has 6. New York a 2-point lead. They've hit 4 to 6 from the field. Boston's hit 4 to 9 from the field. Bird, nice pass underneath to Parish. Parish has 4.
Oh, that is so nice. Larry Bird is so terrific when he gets in a 2 or 3 man game.
Walker back to Jackson. We are tied at 10, a little over 8 minutes to go, opening quarter. Ewing operating down. Oh, couldn't get it to go. Green pulls away the rebound. And we get a loose ball foul. It's called against Parish.
That's what Sidney Green is so good at doing. Here's Patrick Ewing shooting a poor position shot, a baseline shot, but Sidney Green really went after that offensive rebound.
Walker gets it into Wilkins. The Knicks can grab the lead back here. We're tied at 10. Green operating along the baseline with Kevin McHale right on him, lost the ball. Celtics get it on the turnover.
One of the big problems with Sidney Green is that he does not have very good hands. Although he's a great offensive rebounder, when he gets the offensive rebound, he has a very difficult time converting it.
We'll have to keep an eye on the turnovers tonight. New York causes a lot of turnovers, but they also have more turnovers per game than any other team in the league. Parish to Johnson. Johnson from the top of the circle. Can't get it to fall. Another New York rebound. Green off to Jackson. And again, the Knicks can take the lead here in a 10-10 game. Jackson lost the ball as he got down in the paint. And there's another turnover.
A big key to this game is Dennis Johnson making the open shot. He made it extremely well towards the end of the season. That was his first opportunity, and he missed.
Kevin McHale, who doesn't miss many. Another New York rebound. Jackson off to Ewing. Ewing off the glass. 4 points for Patrick Ewing. And the Knicks have opened up a 12-10 lead. A little over 7 minutes to go in the first quarter. A whistle from McHale. Gerald, Wilkins, and Sky Walker not very happy with the call. Ewing over to complain about it.
This is going to end up a very physical series. If you remember when Hubie was coaching quite a few years ago now, it was a very physical series between Boston and New York, and I expect this one's going to end up the same.
Celtics not shooting well in the early going. Jackson. Off to Patrick Ewing. He sends it back outside to Wilkins, who directs traffic. Jackson from three-point territory.
It's really a big shot for Jackson. The Knicks have been shooting more and more three-point shots as the season wore on, and that is a big opportunity for them.
New York's opened up a 5-point lead. Larry Bird still looking for his first points of the night. And there they are. 15-12, a 3-point New York lead. 6:20 remaining here in the first quarter. Ewing down low.
There's the double team.
Comes across to Walker, who's open for the long-range jumper. That's not the shot he wants to take. Parish to Bird. Bird got out of the traffic, gives to Johnson, back over to Ainge. Ainge down low, McHale. McHale, a shot he normally makes. Long down-court pass cannot be controlled. That was rebound number 5 already by Sidney Green, and the New York Knicks are doing okay so far. 5:56 remaining first quarter. It's a 15-12 Knick lead. Nelson back with you from the Boston Garden, where the New York Knicks have opened up an early lead in this first quarter. Well, Don, it's the regular season poll now, not the playoffs, but just for the regular season that the MVP is picked for. Who do you select from that quartet?
There's no doubt in my mind that Michael Jordan should win the MVP this year. I don't even think that it's very close. I thought Larry Bird had another terrific year, but Jordan topped it. I thought Magic Johnson was terrific. He had the injured period that probably hurt him in that run. And Olajuwon, I just think, would finish 4th in that balloting.
We mentioned already that Mark Jackson was an odds-on favorite to be Rookie of the Year, but you put a plug in for your man before the game.
Yes, and I'm glad to see Winston Garland getting mentioned, because Winston had a great year, and you look at his numbers, he's not that far away really from any of the other people that we're considering. But I think Mark Jackson is head and shoulders above anybody this season. He deserves Rookie of the Year.
15-12, the Knicks lead it with 5:55 remaining in the opening quarter. Dennis Johnson has Jackson on him. McHale hits the shot, but he missed the last time down the court. 4 points for McHale, and it's now a 1-point New York lead. You don't see quite as much substituting come playoff time.
No, I think both teams are probably going to go with 7 or 8 big-time players, and then occasionally on foul trouble they'll go with the 9th man.
Walker was able to follow his own shot, and the second-year player out of Kentucky gets his 4th point. The Knicks again by 3.
It's important that Walker gets off. That's a nice way to do it on a rebound. He had missed 3 open jumpers to that point.
Parish. A little too strong with that jumper. Gets his own rebound. Missed the follow-up. Larry Bird. Over Walker. Well, the Celtics can't get anything to fall for him early. Another New York rebound. They can open up a 5-point lead. Patrick Ewing. Nope. Walker. Nope. No whistle under there. Ewing gets another rebound off to Jackson, and this time we do get the whistle. We're getting an offensive foul call.
Nice call by Paul Mahalik. That's the toughest call to call in any division, and he just made the right call.
So the Celtics get it back, trailing by 3. The turnover gives it to the New York Knicks.
You know, Casey Jones, his coaching style, he's probably the best in the league at identifying mismatches and going to them. Now, the big guys aren't the only ones that are going to be posted. The guards also can be posted.
Green to Ewing. Ewing operating in heavy traffic, drew the foul.
That's a big fake. Ewing he's added that to his game over this last year. He's just one of the best. There we see it up. It's almost impossible not to go for it because he's such a good scoring machine inside, and he draws the foul for 2 free throws.
Parish committing his second foul. Patrick, a 72% shooter from the line during the regular season. Really came into his own this year. Played all season, didn't miss any games due to injuries.
One of the big difference when you're comparing outstanding centers, and he's considered by many to be the #1 outstanding center, is his ability to make the free throw.
That gives Ewing 6 points.
When you look at another great center, Elijah, he has trouble at the free throw line, and that really does hurt his overall game.
The Knicks leading by 5. A little over 4 minutes to go, first quarter. Danny Ainge gets it down to Larry Bird. Bird operating against Walker.
Oh, man, what a shot. Fantastic shot by Bird.
4 points for Larry Bird, a 3-point New York lead. Wilkins to Walker to Jackson. Sidney Green over McHale. Green with his first 2 of the night. And the Knicks maintaining that 5-point bulge over the Celtics early. Down to McHale. He loves to operate down there, but he loses the ball to Wilkins. And the Knicks can open up their biggest lead. Jackson to Wilkins. His baseline jumper is good.
There's that open court shot that we were talking about again. The Knicks must convert in the open court if they're going to win this series.
Gerald Wilkins now with 8 points. New York has opened up a 7-point lead. The Boston Celtics want to talk about it. Calling a timeout with 3:11 remaining in quarter number 1. Burn back at Boston Garden where the Knicks have a 7-point lead with 3:11 remaining. Coming up next, San Antonio and the LA Lakers open up their best-of-5 series. Skip Carey and Steve Jones standing by to bring you that one. That'll be coming your way on the Superstation right after this game. Other action tonight, the Atlanta Hawks Milwaukee Bucks series. 2 teams struggling. Milwaukee has an 8-point lead early.
You know, I think the Hawks had better be careful with the Bucks. They are a veteran playoff team. They do have the ability to turn it up a notch, and that's going to be a very interesting series to watch.
Celtics with only 5 seconds left in the shot clock. Good New York defense. Jackson has his right to the front pass intercepted though by Danny Ainge. Dennis Johnson wide open.
That's the shot he's going to have to make in this series, the open jumper. If the Knicks are going to give something, it's going to be Dennis Johnson's open jump shot.
Johnson has 4. The Knicks lead is a 5-point lead with 2.5 minutes to go opening quarter. Wilkins, who's had a hot hand early.
There's Dennis Johnson drawing the foul. He's one of the best in the league at drawing a foul. I'm not sure that he was hit too hard, but he has the ability to draw the attention to himself by giving a good acting job. And there you see it, that he did it again.
Trent Tucker has checked into the New York lineup, and Bill Cartwright has also checked in. Now you will see we got an illegal defense that's been called there.
One of the ways to attack the Knicks and Mark Jackson would be to post him up. You see Dennis Johnson has him in the low box right now, and they would like to go to him, either score or get him in foul trouble.
Parish now has 6.
They drew the double team that time, and they made the proper pass.
A 3-point lead for New York, a little over 2 minutes to go. Walker back to Jackson. He's going to try another 3-pointer. This one won't go for him. Kevin McHale clears for the Celtics, gets it off to Johnson. Parish in the paint. Loses the ball to Jackson. Oh, he's all over the place, this guy. Mark
That
Jackson.
was great backflow by Jackson to pick that dribble up.
So is that man, Larry Bird, all over the place.
You wouldn't think he'd be as quick as Jackson, but he anticipates better than anybody in the game today.
McHale over Green. Kevin McHale beginning to warm up. He has 6 points. It's a 1-point New York lead now with 1:20 remaining in the opening quarter.
Rick Pitino calling for the 22nd timeout here. He sees the lead dwindling, and it's a great 22nd timeout. Hopefully he can change this tempo back to his favor, Pete.
How do you think Rick was able to do the sales job he did in this New York team? They were having so much trouble on the road in particular. They lost 23 of their first 24 road games and then wind up winning 5 of their last 7. A lot of people thought this New York team was going to fade after about 40 games playing the type of defense wire to wire that they do.
When he took the job, Rick Pitino said this team will get better as the season goes by, and that was true. They won 60% of their games down the stretch, and he taught them how to win on the road and how not to lose at home.
Celtics have made their last 4 shots. The last 3 times the Knicks have had the ball, they've missed 1 shot and turned it over twice. That's how the Celtics have pulled back to within a point here with 1:18 to go.
Taking a look now at Cedric Toney. He's going to give Jackson a bit of a rest here. He doesn't play a lot of minutes, but I think he was a nice pickup by El Bianchi.
He's going to try one from 3, and he hits it.
You know, the Knicks are shooting the 3-point shot as much as anybody in the game right now. And I think it's because they're not real good shooters from mid-range. So Pitino thought we might as well shoot the longer one. We get awarded about 30% more if we make it, and it's a longer rebound possibility.
Robert Parish with the tip for his 8th point. It's 26-24, a 2-point New York lead. 44 seconds left to go, opening quarter. Toney working the backcourt now with Tucker. Cartwright, who at times will be on the court at the same time as Patrick Ewing, and Cedric Toney has come off the bench. Well, the second-year player out of Dayton, 2 3-pointers, 29-24.
Those are 2 big 3-point shots for the New York Knicks. Again, when they get in a half-court game, they've got to make that outside shot.
Larry Bird has been unable to warm up, but Kevin McHale follows. McHale has 8. 29-26 New York. They'll play for a final shot here with 17 seconds to go in the first quarter. Jim Paxson in there now for the Celtics.
This is a 1-4 set, and Toney should be able to beat Paxton. Now, Boston had a foul to give, and they took it there.
So charge Paxson with his first. Now there's only 5 seconds remaining.
Not being in the bonus allowed them to foul, and it stopped the momentum of the Knicks. Now they have 5 seconds to inbound and score. We'll see if they can do it.
Johnny Newman is checked in to inbounds the ball, gets it to Cartwright to Toney. 3 seconds. Let's see if he can get the shot away. Nope. Time had expired, but the New York Knicks got an instant pickup from Cedric Toney off the bench. He hit 2 3-pointers, and the Knicks lead by 3 after 1. Stats, the New York Knicks out shooting the Celtics both from the field and from the free throw line. The Celtics haven't been there yet.
Yes, they've been converting in the open court. They've had 8 opportunities. They've scored 8 points. Boston has only had 3 opportunities but only made 2 points.
The Celtics were able to prevent the New York Knicks from getting off a final shot, though, and we were talking about it as Red Auerbach looks on from his familiar spot here at the Garden. We were talking about it during the breakdown that K.C. Jones, who's been a player and a coach here in Boston for so many years, doesn't ever seem to get the respect that he deserves as a coach. True, he has good players, but he does a good job coaching.
Yes, both he and Pat Riley, who coach, of course, the best 2 teams in the league, never really get the recognition that they deserve, because everybody expects their team to win. But K.C. Jones had a handle on that last play. He knew that he had a foul to give. He gave it, and as a result, the Knicks did not get a good shot opportunity off.
The New York Knicks have called a timeout. I'm not sure if this is a 20-second timeout or a full timeout. I thought I saw Earl Strom give a 20-second timeout. I guess it is a full timeout. Okay, we'll call a timeout then, with the New York Knicks leading by 3. You see a note on K.C. Jones, who just pulled another piece of interesting strategy, Don. The New York Knicks tried to call a 20-second timeout there, but they had already used their 20-second timeout in the first quarter.
That's right. K.C. decided to have a full court press, a denial press right out of the timeout, and it surprised the Knicks. They weren't ready for it. They had to call a timeout or lose the ball.
Johnny Newman working with Cedric Toney. Pat Cummings also on the court now, along with Trent Tucker and Bill Cartwright for the Knicks. Cartwright working against Artis Gilmore.
Oh, what a strong move, Pete. That is really a strong move, and we are going to need a great performance out of Cartwright if the Knicks are going to have a chance in this series. That was as strong a move as I've seen him make in a long, long time.
Artis Gilmore, who has been in this league for so long,
Yes, Artis is on his last legs, and his last hurrah might be this year, but he's able to make a contribution for the Celtics. They lost Kite, of course, and I think he's going to be an addition in the playoffs.
They called the foul on Gilmore. Cartwright, a 79% free throw shooter. Missing the first one. That's the first miss from the line by New York.
That's really tough to come off the bench in one of your first plays. You go to the free throw line, you're not quite warm yet. I hope he does better this time.
Cartwright getting his first point. New York by 4. Just underway with quarter number 2. Paxson working with Ainge in the backcourt. Fred Roberts, Gilmore, and Bird also out there for Boston. Larry Bird.
You know, I really think that Paxson is going to help this ball club through the playoffs. He's a nice addition because they need shooters. They need somebody to rest both their guards, and I think Paxson is the right guy.
Cummings on the third effort. His first 2 of the night.
Patrick has been playing extremely well in the last several weeks of the season. He feels healthy, and he could be a good contributor.
That trapping defense, Bird gets rid of it to Roberts, and Roberts putting the shot up over Cummings. The basket's good. The foul will be on Cummings.
That's Patrick. He's slow of foot. He has a hard time in the open court. And you see Roberts driving around him to his left hand. He thought Roberts was going to go right if he drove it all, but he tricked him a little bit. He went to his left and drew the foul.
First trip to the line by any Celtic tonight. Fred Roberts, a 78% free throw shooter. As a team, Boston shoots 80% from the line. And Roberts completing the three-point play. It's a one-point game again. New York on top with 10:45 remaining in the first half.
There aren't many teams, Pete, that shoot 50% or over from the field and 80% from the line. And, of course, the Celtics have done that this year, and that is some feat.
Danny Ainge not at all pleased about that call. It's his second personal.
It is getting very physical inside right now.
Cartwright lobbing it cross court to Newman. Tony trying from three-point territory again. It'll be Boston's ball. Tony hit 2 of those in the first quarter.
He certainly did, and as I said, the Knicks are shooting the three-pointer more than anybody right now.
Paxson working against Tucker. That is the first on Tucker.
As you can see, Casey Jones sees a mismatch. He sees Johnny Newman trying to guard Larry Bird. So what happens? Bird goes right down into the low post and takes advantage of that mismatch.
Now McHale takes over for Gilmore. Paxson had the ball tipped away, but another foul is going to be called against the Knicks. One thing about this Knicks defense, it is prone to commit a foul or two.
But it's very interesting to see Paxson's post game coming back. He was a good post player because he is 6'6" and he plays a guard, so he has a mismatch in there oftentimes. But his last few years at Portland, they didn't take advantage of his post play, so he had to learn that all over again. He got to Boston, he started working on it, they started posting him late in the season, and as you can see, he's pretty clever down there.
Patrick Ewing checking back in. Dirk Minniefield getting into the game for the first time for the Celtics. And Paxson hits both his free throws. His first 2 points in this game. The Celtics have the lead now by 1.
And look who's pressing who. The Celtics are in a full court press against the Knicks. We expected the turnaround on that one.
Mark Jackson back in the game for New York. Gets it to Cartwright. You're seeing that Twin Towers concept now with Cartwright and Ewing on the court at the same time.
And there again was Patrick Ewing's great up fake. He drew the defense and scored.
New York by 1, 9:50 remaining. Ewing now has 8 points. Minniefield working against Jackson. Paxson for the open jumper. Won't go for him. Rebound pulled away by Cartwright.
I am so impressed with Cartwright. He's really playing well right now. He's passing, scoring, and rebounding.
Finally was able to stay away from the injury jinx this year. Ewing was trying to get it to Cartwright and knew immediately that it wasn't going to work.
That was a learned play. I could see that setting up right now. Ewing was trying to draw the double team, and they knew they were coming from the weak side. They tried to get the ball to Cartwright, but he missed the pass.
Knicks now guilty of 7 turnovers. Boston has committed 4. We're liable to see a lot of turnovers in this game. New York commits a lot, and they also force a lot with their pressing defense. Minniefield
bounce for Minnie. He needed that. Maybe that'll get him on track right now.
Boston has the lead back by 1 with 9 minutes to go first half.
I'll tell you something interesting is to see Casey go to his bench as quickly as he has, and he's already played about 9 people.
Kevin McHale got belted in the left eye, it looked like. The foul called on McHale.
Here's Cartwright again. What a factor he is inside. He's played in all 82 games this year, and he had been injured on and off with that bad foot for the last 2 or 3 years.
That was the first foul called against McHale. And it puts Cartwright at the line again. He hit 1 on a 2 last trip there.
You know, if the Knicks are going to be in a half-court game, which Boston's going to try to get him in, then Cartwright has got to be big in this series.
Cartwright now with 2 points. Trying to put the Knicks back on top. That one won't go for him. Gilmore the rebound. At the conclusion of tonight's game, Don and I will be selecting the Miller Lite player of the game. Game 1 in the best-of-5 series from Boston. Minifield to Larry Bird. Bird not able to get that hot hand going yet. New York doing a good job on the boards.
There's Cartwright again on the glass. He's really playing big right now.
Ewing over McHale. Patrick Ewing now with 10 points. And the Knicks on a 2-point lead.
You know, when you talk about an inside game, who's to say that the 2 players, big players that the Knicks have in the game right now are not as good as Boston's big players? I certainly wouldn't say it.
Paxson got around Tucker. Ewing slaps it away. And a 3-on-2 New York break. Jackson had that ball hang up on his hip. But it'll still be New York's ball.
That was great hands by Dirk Minifield. Oh, here it is right now. Watch Minnie reach in and bat that ball away. He has a great set of hands on him.
Jackson. Newman. His first effort of the night won't fall for him. Larry Bird, the rebound for Boston. Boston can tie it up here. Paxson. Artis Gilmore back out to Minifield. Nice pass underneath to Larry Bird.
Dirk Minifield is really helping this ball club. He's able again to give rest to Dennis Johnson. I think that's important for a long playoff.
Bird now with 8 points. Ewing against Gilmore. Nice drop off to Jackson. Jackson couldn't get the basket to fall, but he drew the foul.
You know, Patrick Ewing has come so far in his game, and passing is just one of the many things that he's learned to do a lot better than when he came. Drawing that defense, a double team, knowing where his people are, and making the proper pass.
Larry Bird getting a breather. You saw Fred Roberts checking in. Here's Jackson, who has 3 points in the night. That was a 3-point basket. He also has already picked up 5 assists. Dennis Johnson back in now for Dirk Minifield.
Look at this young man, Mark Jackson. You know, when you talk about players that you pick up in the draft that turn you around, you normally talk about the big people, the centers, the people who are drafted high. But here's a kid who was drafted low first round and has turned his franchise around. What a young man.
A 2-point New York lead. Dennis Johnson with Trent Tucker all over him. Tucker finally called for the foul.
And you can see again how clever Dennis Johnson is in drawing that foul. He sees that he's playing him tight. He takes advantage of it. He fakes, no call, and all of a sudden he draws the foul by getting the attention of the referee.
Johnson bumped as he went through the lane by Cartwright.
You know, when we talk about Dennis Johnson, I think he's probably one of the most underrated players in the game today and throughout his career. He's underrated almost everywhere except here in Boston. He is truly one of the great guards to ever play in this league.
He's been hampered by an ailing right shoulder, which has taken him out of a few games this year. K.C. Jones giving him some rest down the stretch. Get ready for this grueling playoff series, and that's really what it is.
If anybody has ever had a sore shoulder, they can understand what it would be like to try to shoot a basketball with a sore shoulder.
6 points now for Johnson. And we're tied at 39 with 7 minutes to go in the first half. Trent Tucker. McHale picks him up. And an illegal D called now against the Celtics.
Yes, that was a good call. They were sagging on the weak side a little bit too much, but Boston has increased its half-court pressure on the Knicks. That's very interesting. They normally play behind the big guys. They're fronting the big guys inside. See the front by McHale? And there's the illegal defense on the weak side.
Newman from three-point territory. Way short. Ball kept alive, and Cartwright picks it off the floor. Only 5 seconds on the shot clock. Newman hit that one. His first 2 of the night. And the Knicks are back on top by 2.
The Knicks are not a good outside shooting team. It is very important that they consistently make that open shot.
Paxson through the lane.
Oh, there's that contribution by Jimmy Paxson that I thought would happen. He is really going to be a nice pickup for the Boston Celtics.
We're tied at 41. Paxson now with 4. Johnny Newman sends it across to Jackson. Patrick Ewing lost it, got it back. Set the pick for Jackson, who goes in for layup and had it blocked by McHale. Patrick Ewing had it blocked by Gilmore.
Oh, there's some
kind of defense there.
There's some big-time action going on under that basket.
Paxson back outside to Johnson. Dennis Johnson is going to be called for carrying the ball. New York gets it back.
Oh, here's the 2 blocks. We missed one. There's the other one right there with Artis Gilmore reaching back, gaining something that he had several years ago, bringing it back into the playoffs.
Larry Bird back in there now as Gilmore sits down. 5.5 minutes to go. We're tied at 41 in the first half. Ewing against Akers, who's in there now for the Celtics. Ewing wanted the foul called against Akers, didn't get it. Akers with the rebound off to Dennis Johnson. Mark Akers out of Oral Roberts. The Celtics are beginning to warm up, Don.
Yes, Jimmy Paxson moving without the ball. He's playing with a great team with ball movement. There's no better passing team than the Celtics.
A 2-point lead for Boston. Wilkins, who had a good first quarter. It's his first attempt here in the second quarter. He has 10 points. We're tied at 43. 4:50 left in the first half. Celtics players saying before this game the way to beat the New York defense is with short, crisp passes. Larry Bird tripped up as he got into the lane.
Well, I'll tell you, the referees are letting them play inside on both ends of the court, and that's exactly the way it should be in the playoffs.
Kenny Walker called for a second foul here.
Here's a great pass by Dennis Johnson to Larry Bird, of course, was tripped. But, you know, it's so difficult, Pete, for a guard to play point and off guard, and Dennis Johnson does it so easily. If the Celtics want him to run their ball club, he takes control. If they want him to shoot and be the off guard, then he does that. He is some player.
Larry Bird's first trip to the line tonight. He's now got 9 points. He has one more coming here, and that puts him in double figures. Bird, who is second in the league to Jack Sikma in free throw percentage this year.
Here's some full court action now by the Celtics, surprising the Knicks again.
Boston up by 2 with 4:25 to go in the first half. Wilkins. And we're going to have a technical foul now as Boston is called for its second illegal defense.
Another good call by Earl Strong. That sag defense is in the paint, and the Knicks are doing a great job of spreading the court.
Well, Don, your former team, the Milwaukee Bucks, doing it to Atlanta in Atlanta.
You know, the Milwaukee Bucks wanted to play Atlanta as opposed to Chicago. Chicago just had their number. I thought they're going to be able to do a good job in the playoffs, and the first half they're doing it today.
Robert Parish checking back in. He's had a long rest. Akers sits down. Boston leading now by a 45-44 margin. Wilkins with 11 points after he hit that technical foul.
What a terrific job Casey Jones has done getting the players in early, so they're not afraid if they get in late.
Ball goes back to Boston. Danny Ainge checks in, replacing Jim Paxson. A little over 4 minutes to go. in the first half. Boston up by a point. And a 22nd timeout is going to be taken here by the Celtics.
I'll tell you, Pete, it is really war inside. Both teams are very physical inside. There was another great move by Cartwright just before that, again, was very difficult to finish off. Cartwright is playing so big in this series. And here again, you see the lob, a beautiful pass, good extension. Larry Bird just gets a piece of it in the miss. And look at Ewing all over that offensive glass.
And even when Larry Bird doesn't block a shot or make a shot, he's always around somewhere to make somebody change a shot, as he did that time.
You know, he has the quick hands. He doesn't have the jumping ability, but he has anticipation and quick hands, and somehow he changes a lot of shots.
We've got 4:05 remaining in quarter number 2. Pete Van Weeren and Don Nelson with you from the Boston Garden. These same two teams on Sunday. And then the series moves to Madison Square Garden. The Knicks, of course, would love to get out of Boston with one win. McHale. Boy, he is murdered down low.
We talk about great up fakes that Ewing has. There's another one that's certainly just as good, maybe even better.
Celtics now by 3. Gerald Wilkins giving it to Patrick Ewing. Bird all over him again. Ewing still gets the shot away. It won't go, and Bird gets the rebound. He's everywhere, isn't he?
He really is. He's some player.
There's Parish working on Ewing. Nope. There's another rebound for Bill Cartwright. Off to Gerald Wilkins. Cross court it goes, and he was on the line. I think he was.
There's a mistake by a young player. Another year or two in the league, and he'll never make that mistake, not knowing where he is at all times on the court. Stepped out of bounds just before that shot.
3:12 the time left.
Here's something interesting. The points inside in the paint. Boston has 28, New York 12.
Big shots that seem impossible. He now has 12 on the night, and Boston has opened up a biggest lead, a 5-point advantage.
Just what I thought. This is going to be a very physical series. It's already getting physical inside.
They keep going down to Ewing, who keeps getting double and triple teamed. Long 3-point effort by Newman, no good. Now we're going to get a loose ball foul call against the Celtics. 2:42 as the Celtics take a timeout here, left in the first half. There's your score. Of CRX, Civic, Accord, and Prelude. Test drive one at your local Honda dealer today. Don, it's always good when you can have a leader in the field goal shooting percentage. When you got the top two, that's really saying something, like the Celtics have.
Yes, there you see McHale and Parish being 1 and 2 in the league this year. That's only happened once or twice, I think, before in the history of the league, that the same two people on the same team have been 1 and 2 in the finish.
Patrick Ewing at the line. Ewing missing the first one. Ewing missed them both. Wilkins comes up with a loose ball.
There's great hustle by the Knicks.
New York down by 5. Every time Ewing gets the ball, he has 2 people on him. And Cedric Toney, who came off the bench in the first quarter to hit 2 3-pointers, has hit his 3rd 3 of the night to make it a 2-point game.
You know, Pete, not only are the Celtics surprised by that, but I'm surprised to see the range that Cedric Toney has. I didn't know he had that kind of range.
Ewing giving it over to Cedric Toney. See if they can tie it up here.
Bird draws the charge again. That is amazing. The anticipation of this young man is second to nobody that I've ever seen play the game.
2 minutes remaining in the quarter.
Paxson back in the lineup for Boston, gives it over to McHale. Celtics up by 2.
You see Dennis Johnson in the low post again, trying to take advantage of that mismatch. There's nobody better than the Celtics at mismatches.
That's called against Cedric Toney, his second. 1:49 to go in the half. The Knicks have held their own here at the Garden, trailing by 2.
It is really an exciting ball game. I'm telling you, the New York fans must be awful proud of this team to hang in here opening night of the biggest game of a lot of these Knicks careers.
Well, I know, Don, you and I were talking before the game, and you were wondering if New York was really coming to play or if just getting to the playoffs was enough. Obviously, they've come to play.
Yes, you always worry about a team when they have so much success and they're rewarded by making the playoffs that a lot of the young men may think that's enough, but it's not. And the Knicks have not accepted that.
Johnson now 4 out of 4 from the line. He has 8 points all told. And the Celtics have a 4-point lead. A little over a minute 40 remaining. Cedric Toney working against Johnson. Getting the ball to Ewing. Goes around Parish. Green follows.
Well, there's a
4 for Sidney Green.
There is a big-time move by Patrick Ewing. He missed a shot, but it was really some move that he made. And Green there on the outside for the rebound.
Johnson against the pressure of Cedric Toney. With Boston on top by 2. Larry Bird. And the Celtics turn it over. Well, New York get right back in it now.
Yes, they are. They're going to have a good chance here to go ahead by halftime, which would be a big feather in their cap.
Cedric Toney working against Dennis Johnson. Gives it off to Newman. But the Knicks turn it over. And Larry Bird gives it off to Dennis Johnson. To Robert Parish. Parish open from right of the lane. He has 10. Celtics by 4. Less than a minute to play in the first half. A travel. Another Knick turnover.
Well, if there's one player I've noticed that seems to be a little bit nervous, it's probably Johnny Newman. I think he's going to have to get an easy basket or two before he relaxes.
Stay tuned for the Prudential Halftime Report. Craig Sager will be along with all of the NBA playoff news, plus Roy S. Johnson's choices for the NBA awards coming up at halftime, which is 35 seconds away. Wilkins. Gerald Wilkins has had a good first half. He has 13.
Yeah, I don't think he's too nervous about this playoff atmosphere.
I don't think anybody named Wilkins in this league ever is.
He better have a little talk, I think, with Johnny Newman. What do you think?
53-51 Boston. 25 seconds remaining. Dennis Johnson working against Cedric Toney. They're using up some of that clock. And they lose the ball to New York. Now with 11 seconds left, New York can get a final shot and maybe tie this thing up going to halftime. Wilkins had it tipped away by Paxson, gets it back, puts it up over Parish. It's short. Bird pulls away the rebound, and the Knicks will go to the locker room down by 2. It's been a good first half here at the Boston Garden. At halftime, the Celtics 53 and the New York Knicks 51.
I don't think there's a lot of people very surprised in New York because their team has really been turned on at the end of the year. Cartwright has been playing so big. He's been a big factor, but the surprise in the first half has been Cedric Toney making 3 out of 4 three-point shots.
Let's take a look now at some of the first half highlights. First, we'll show you some Boston defense.
Well, here you see Ewing fumble the ball. Now, this is where Jackson is at his best. With penetration, he goes in, but no. There's the reject by McHale. Now, who's going to win the hustle game? It's not going to be Artis Gilmore, but here's shades of old. Artis Gilmore on the block, back in, and Boston recovers the ball.
Larry Bird says the best way to beat the New York pressing defense is with short, crisp passes. Watch this.
One of our great passers in the game today, but there's Jimmy Paxson moving without the ball, and he's going to be a big factor in this series.
And one way New York was able to stay in there early was because of their great rebounding advantage. They were a 3-2 rebounding edge over Boston throughout the first half.
Now look at this move by Ewing. Is this a big-time move or what? He does not finish it off, but there's Sidney Green up and in. Now, he misses a lot of those, but that one he did put down.
And as we look at the first half statistics, the field goal shooting about even, except for that three-point figure, and 3 of those 4 belong to Cedric Toney on the Knicks side. Look at the rebounding advantage by the Knicks, 24-16, and the Knicks, guilty of a lot of turnovers every game this year, have already committed 12 in the first half tonight.
If there's been a big disappointment in the Boston game, not just now, but all through the season, it has been their rebounding. They have not been as good a rebounding team as they should be. The Knicks, however, are one of the best.
Well, it's a 2-point Boston lead. If you're Rick Pitino or K.C. Jones, what kind of things are you talking about?
Well, you know, Rick Pitino at this particular time has to tell his team that he is really proud of them. They've battled, they've played really hard, and they're in a position now to win this ball game if they can come up with one more solid half. Boston, I think, has to just play a little bit better. They have to make sure they do the things that they do the best.
Well, the third quarter is underway. Jackson bringing the ball down for New York against Danny Ainge. Kenny Walker can't get it to fall for him, and the Celtics control the first rebound as Parish pulls it away. Parish, Johnson, Ainge, Bird, and McHale in the court for the Celtics. Jackson, Wilkins, Ewing, Green, and Walker for the Knicks. Danny Ainge down to McHale. Ainge along the baseline, dishes off to Larry Bird. 5 seconds left on the shot clock. Good defense by New York. Larry Bird forces his way through it and gets his own rebound. 14 for Bird.
What a play, huh? That guy is just amazing, almost everything he does.
A 4-point Boston lead. Third quarter just underway. Mark Jackson. Gerald Wilkins had a hot hand first half. Ewing, as usual, has 3 people on him. Doesn't matter. 12 for Ewing.
I tell you, his moves are so smooth inside. Somebody's been doing a great job. The coaching staff deserves a lot of credit working with Patrick Ewing.
A 2-point Boston lead in the first minute of quarter number 3. Larry Bird came up short. Another New York rebound. Jackson takes it himself. 7 points for Mark Jackson.
You're going to have to be a man to play inside in this game. It is going to be physical, and the refs are letting them play.
And we're all tied up with 10.5 minutes to go, third quarter. Ainge sends it back outside to Johnson. Down to 6 seconds left to shoot it. Kevin McHale will, and Kevin McHale gets fouled.
Now that particular play, it's really not the fault of the inside defender. When you allow the ball to swing easily across the top, McHale just had him sealed and it went right in. The low post game for the Boston Celtics are second to none in the league.
Sidney Green called for his second foul, and McHale makes his free throw. He's an 80% free throw shooter. He now has 13 in the game. A 3-point Boston lead. Away from the ball, Earl Strom has a whistle. Called on McHale.
Look at this physical play inside. You see the pull on Ewing's arm by McHale, and that's where the foul occurred.
So New York inbounds it. Jackson to Walker. Over to Wilkins. It was a 2-pointer. Gerald Wilkins now with 15.
The New York Knicks are not a good outside shooting team percentage-wise. They have shot the ball extremely well tonight.
Boston by 1. McHale down low over Green, over Ewing. Rebound Parish. And Robert Parish has 12. A 3-point Boston lead.
Parish had the inside track because Ewing went for the block shot there.
Green over McHale. Dennis Johnson controls for the Celtics off to Ainge. Celtics can open that lead back up to 5. Ainge all the way. Wouldn't go for him. Ewing taps it out to Jackson. Knicks have a 2-on-1. Jackson will take it himself over Johnson. Won't go, but Sidney Green is there with a follow.
You don't have to worry about not having good hands if you dunk them like that, do you? That was a nice finish by Green.
It is a 1-point Boston lead with 9:06 remaining in quarter number 3.
This is the open court. This is where the Knicks have got to convert. What a great defensive job by the two Celtics, but it opens up the board, and there's Sidney Green. Don't worry about grabbing that one. Just dunk it, Sidney. Good job.
There you see how the Atlanta Hawks have turned things around against the Bucks. They were down by 12, Atlanta was, at halftime.
Oh, no, my Bucks. What happened?
And as I recall, Don, didn't Milwaukee have 60 points at halftime? They're going into the fourth quarter now with just 76.
That's amazing. Are you sure that score is right? My Bucks wouldn't blow a lead like that.
The Atlanta Hawks trying to win their first game. After this one, the Spurs and the Lakers. First of their best-of-5 series. Skip Carey, Steve Jones standing by out of the Forum in Los Angeles to bring you that one. Here it's Boston by 1. Look at that pass by Bird to Parish, but he couldn't get the basket to fall for him. Ewing the rebound for New York. New York can take the lead. Green tried to hit Ewing underneath. missed connections.
Pass wasn't perfect, but boy, Bird certainly was. It was just fumbled by Parish, but what a great basketball play.
A 1-point Boston lead, 8.5 minutes remaining, third quarter. Bird with Walker on him, down to Johnson. Ewing comes over to help out. Johnson trapped along that baseline, had his pass, knocks off the backboard. Wilkins takes it himself and hits his 17th point.
Another open court score by the Knicks. They're very good in the transition game tonight.
The New York Knicks have taken a 1-point lead. Larry Bird has not been as hot as a Larry Bird normally is from that range. And the Knicks can now open up a 3-point lead. Jackson directing traffic. He plays with the poise of a veteran out there. You never know he was in his first year in the league. Although that turnover gives it back to Boston. Dennis Johnson going into the heavy traffic and drawing the foul.
There's another smart play by Dennis getting fouled. He draws more fouls than any Celtic with the exception of Larry Bird.
That is 2 on Ewing, and Johnson will be at the line.
He sees the opening. He takes it. Left hand. Now he doesn't go for the score here. He goes for the foul.
Johnson with 8 points on the night. It's a perfect 4 and a 4 from the free throw line. Cummings checks back into the New York lineup.
You know, Patrick Cummings played extremely well the last 5 or 6 ball games. He can be a factor in this series because if you're going to play the Celtics, you're going to have to play big against them. That means that all the pressing and the trapping that the Knicks like to do has to be saved for periods of the game in which they are down or things are not going well. As long as they can play big against Boston, you're going to see Cummings and Cartwright be big factors.
Boston back on top. They have not missed a free throw tonight. They're 12 out of 12 from the line. 7.5 minutes to go in quarter number 3. Wilkins will take it himself, but he turned the ball over with a walk violation.
The Knicks have to be very careful here, Pete. They're getting a little stagnant. They're starting to go one-on-one a little bit too much. They'd better be very careful if Boston's going to make a run on them.
Celtics have been cold from the floor. They're only 2 out of 7 from the field in this third quarter.
They are looking for somebody to take over. Now, who is it going to be? Is it going to be McHale, Bird, Parish? It looks like it's going to be McHale.
They drew the foul from Cummings. Second foul called on Cummings. And Kevin McHale goes to the free throw line. He has 13 points tonight.
It's a very difficult job for Patrick Cummings to guard Kevin McHale. It is just very difficult. He's not only slow of foot, but he has a size disadvantage against McHale. McHale, one of the best players this year, leading the league in field goal percentage.
And the Celtics continue to be perfect from the free throw line. 14 out of 14. They lead by 3. A little over 7 minutes to go in this third quarter. Jackson to Cummings. Sending it back outside to Mark Jackson. Jackson still controlled the ball. Got it off to Wilkins with 5 seconds left on the clock. And Gerald Wilkins looking like brother Dominique on that move. He has 19.
What a play that was. Twisting layup, very difficult shot. The Knicks needed it.
Boston with a 1-point lead again with 6:45 remaining in the third quarter. And the Boston Celtics will call a timeout here with 6:46 left in quarter number 3. And Boston leading by 1. Don Nelson, Pete Van Wieren back at the Boston Garden where the Knicks and Celtics are battling it out in the first of their best-of-5 series. And one reason the Knicks have been able to stay in this thing, Don, is the play of this young man, Gerald Wilkins.
Hey, Mom, Dominique taught me this move. Look at here. And look at the battle underneath between Cummings and McHale.
There you see the night Gerald Wilkins is having. He leads all scorers. It's a 1-point Boston lead. This crowd now trying to become a factor, get the Celtics going. They've still been a little flat at the outset of this third quarter. Been able to maintain the lead, but just barely.
It's interesting what the Knicks have done. They've gone with Pat Cummings as opposed to Cartwright, and I thought Cartwright was probably the biggest factor in the first half.
There's McHale again, and you're right, Don. He's the man they're going to right now.
Very tough, very tough for Patrick to guard Kevin McHale down there in that low box.
A 3-point Boston lead. McHale now has 17 points, 7 of them in this third quarter. Wilkins trying to stay hot. Cummings pulled away the rebound. We're going to lose ball foul.
Well, I'll tell you, Pat is trying to play big under there on the offensive board, though. He really made a lot of room for himself. Watch Pat Cummings there in your lower corner. Pushes McHale into Parish. He tries to get the ball. He's playing the best that he can play.
Cummings has now been called for his third foul, and he'll leave the game. Sidney Green checks back in for New York.
You know, when you foul like that, it's because of aggressive play. And I don't think Pat could give any more than he's giving.
There's an update on that Milwaukee-Atlanta game. The Hawks by 2. They're in the fourth quarter.
That's still going to be some game there. I'll tell you, the playoffs in the NBA, is there any better basketball ever played in this world? Absolutely not.
Walker called for his third foul. And Larry Bird goes to the free throw line as the Celtics trying to continue this perfect string from the line.
And the Knicks are in foul trouble. They're in the bonus with 6 minutes to go in this quarter. They'd better be very careful. Boston can get to the line and put this thing away if they're not careful.
Boston still perfect in the line. They are 16 out of 16. They've opened their lead back up to 5 points. That's the biggest it's been all night.
Here's pressure in the backcourt again by the Celtics. We expected the Knicks to be pressing all over, but it's been the Celtics with the aggressive defense.
Wilkins working against Bird. Sidney Green working against McHale. And Kevin McHale is going to be called for his third foul.
That was a great call by Earl Strom. Kevin McHale was lazy on this play. You can see he let him catch in the paint, and now he's at a tremendous disadvantage. He's all over him. That has got to be called.
Johnny Newman inbounded the ball to Gerald Wilkins. Ewing and Parish having quite a battle underneath. Bird slapped it back to Newman. Now Ewing works against Parish along that baseline, and a good move by Patrick Ewing.
There's a young man that's 7 feet 1 inch tall and able to make a move like that on Robert Parish.
It's a 3-point Boston lead. Ewing now at 14. Johnson trying to dish off underneath. Parish gets it back out to Johnson. They've got 6 seconds left to shoot it. And we got a whistle. A loose ball foul is going to be called. Ainge now in some trouble. That is his fourth.
It's aggressive play out there. This is going to be a great basketball game.
Boston by 3. A little over 5 minutes to go, third quarter. Ewing over Parish again. And the Knicks have found a way to deal with Boston for the moment. They just keep going to the big guy. 68-67 Celtics.
They went quite a long time, Pete, where they did not go inside to Ewing. Now Patino said, that's enough of that. Let's get the ball to the big guy.
Speaking of the big guy, Larry Bird almost made a miraculous shot there. He did draw the foul.
That was a fantastic play. I think Bird was going to pass that ball until he knew that he was fouled. Here it is again. He beats Sidney Green, takes it in. He's looking to pass right now. He sees the contact. He says, well, I'll throw it up and try to get a 3-point play.
Larry Bird will be at the line after Patrick Ewing draws his third. The Celtics 16 out of 16 from the line tonight. Bird is 4 out of 4. And you don't expect him to miss. 92% from the line for the year. Only Jack Sikma had a better percentage than Larry Bird.
You know, Pete, there's only been one other guy to shoot 50% from the field and 90 from the free throw line. Larry Bird did it this year. A little trivia. Who was the other guy that did it?
Rick Barry?
Larry Bird last year.
Oh. Okay. I just wanted to make Rick feel good. Bill Cartwright, who is back into the lineup. And Don, he's picked right up where he left off last time he came out of the game.
Well, I'm actually surprised that we haven't seen him sooner than this. He's playing as big as anybody on the court. And believe me when I say the best inside game in basketball is the Boston Celtics. I don't know that the Knicks are any weaker than the Celtics right now when they have Ewing and Cartwright playing together.
Cartwright completes the 3-point play. He has 5, and we are tied at 70 with 4.5 minutes remaining, third quarter. Johnson working against Jackson. The Celtics having their hands full with these New York Knicks. McHale couldn't get that one to fall, and New York couldn't control the rebound. Both Wilkins and Green were over there, and it went off Green's fingertips, giving the ball back to Boston.
There's a bad break by the Knicks. Look at the energy in Patino. That is amazing. He gets his team sky high every single night out. What a job he's done this year.
Dennis Johnson's fall-away jumper is wide. Another loose ball picked up by Newman. Newman gets it off to Jackson. Knicks have a 4-on-1 to Johnny Newman.
Oh, what a basketball play. He didn't do the natural thing. He waited and did the sensational play. What a play by Jackson.
The New York Knicks have grabbed the lead on Newman's 4-point. 3:50 to go in this third quarter. Newman's going to be called for the foul. No basket.
There's Casey Jones again going inside to the mismatch. He sees a big-time mismatch with Bird trying to be played by a smaller man, and he goes right to it.
Here's another look at that 4-on-1 breakdown.
Take a look at this sensational play by the rookie. Under control the entire way. He knew exactly what he was doing.
Bird making the first one. He now has 19 points, and the Celtics still haven't missed a free throw. Now they have, and of all people, Larry Bird missed it. 72-71, the Knicks by 1. With 3.5 minutes to go, New York 10 out of 14 from the field in this quarter. Boston's only 3 out of 11. And Bill Cartwright hits another one. He has 7.
There's our man again.
Johnson takes it himself. Johnson now with 12. It's a 1-point New York lead. A little over 3 minutes to go, third quarter. Newman from 3-point territory won't go for it. And now the Celtics can reclaim the lead. And this crowd is really into it.
If you live by that long three-pointer early in your offense, you may die by it.
Johnson. The tip is good, and the foul.
I'll tell you, the Celtics at this time are saying, let's do it now. Let's not wait till the fourth quarter. They see an opportunity here, and they're going to take advantage of it. Be careful, Knicks.
Green called for his third. Correction, foul was called on Cartwright, not on Green. It's Cartwright's second. Johnson, who has 12 points. And he's made 6 out of 6 from the free throw line. I think there's some confusion over who is supposed to be shooting the free throw here, and that's what the New York Knicks are complaining about. So a timeout is going to be taken here. With Boston leading by 1.
Yeah, it's a great time for a timeout.
Okay, thank you, Craig. There's your score. Boston 75, New York 74. And here's what the controversy's about, Don. Who scored the basket? Who drew the foul?
They gave the basket to McHale. I think Dennis Johnson was the guy that tipped it in, and then they were going to allow Dennis Johnson to shoot the free throw. That's impossible. If they're going to let Dennis shoot the free throw, they have to credit the basket to him.
And that's what Rick Pitino was so upset about. He preferred having McHale, since they announced the basket was being credited to McHale. He prefers McHale, who's about a 79% free throw shooter, compared to Dennis Johnson's 85%. But it will be Johnson at the line.
It doesn't seem like much, but every little percentile counts in the playoffs.
With 3 minutes to go in the third quarter, Johnson is now 7 out of 7 from the line. And the Boston Celtics lead it by 2.
You've got to hold tight here, Knicks. You have to be very careful. They're giving Ewing a little blow right here, and things are not running very smooth for the Knicks right now.
Gerald Wilkins working against Paxson. He takes it himself into the paint, can't get it to fall. Larry Bird pulls the rebound off the floor, gives it off to Paxson. Johnson and McHale have been big parts of this Celtic third quarter. Larry Bird might be starting to warm up now. He has 21.
They need somebody to step forward, and who did it? Larry Bird again.
Boston by 4, 2:14 to go, third quarter. Down low to Cartwright. Newman open. Boston trying to pull away a little bit here. They can open up their biggest lead of the night. Kevin McHale, no. Cartwright doing a good job there defensively.
Another big play by Cartwright. I think Johnny Newman is a little tight tonight. Somehow we have got to get him an easy basket or he's going to struggle. Maybe this is it. That'll work fine. If he can just make a free throw or two, it might get him on.
Third foul called against Parish. That'll put Johnny Newman at the line. Newman really did a good job for this club. Let go by the Cavaliers, picked up by the Knicks. He averaged 10 points a game, an 84% free throw shooter.
He's a big reason while they're in the playoffs, period. What an acquisition by El Bianchi. He just needs a little something to help him right here, and I'll be glad if he can make both free throws. Oh, he missed the one. That's going to hurt his confidence.
He's 1 of 2 from the line. He's only 2 of 8 from the field now. And it's a 3-point Boston lead with a minute and a half to go in quarter number 3. Paxson couldn't get it to go. Another Cartwright rebound off to Newman. Mark Jackson takes it around McHale. Can't get it to fall. McHale the rebound. Celtics can get that lead back up to 5. Paxson.
Yes, Jimmy Paxson. That's why they acquired you, to make that open shot. And boy, you're doing it tonight.
Boston's lead as big as it's been all night. The New York Knicks want to talk it over. With a minute 3 remaining in quarter number 3. Boston leading it by 5. Rick Barry tomorrow night, 8:05 here on the Superstation. Newman cannot get one to fall. He's now 2 out of 9 from the field. And Boston can open up their biggest lead here. 50 seconds remaining, third quarter. Five seconds left on the shot clock. They better hurry. Dennis Johnson just couldn't get it off.
Yes, they got it off just at the buzzer. What a big, big play.
15 points for Dennis Johnson. Boston's lead is 7 points. That's the biggest lead they've had tonight.
That can break the back of a team when you play such good defense and get burned right at the buzzer.
Cartwright over Parish. Nope. Another Boston rebound. Celtics are beginning to pull away. 7 seconds remaining in the quarter. Larry Bird working against Newman. Couldn't get it to fall. Cartwright a rebound, but that's going to end quarter number 3. And the Boston Celtics, who were struggling with the Knicks, have begun to pull away just a little bit. The crowd here loving it. After 3, it's the Celtics by 7. 2 points down at the half, got the lead back in the third quarter, but the last 2 minutes of that third quarter, the Celtics put on a little spurt. They've opened up a 7-point lead now, and now we're really going to find out what these New York Knicks youngsters are made of.
Well, the Knicks aren't strong enough to have Patrick Ewing out of the game. They need him on the court all the time. Unfortunately, a player can't play 48 minutes a game in the playoffs, so you have to rest him. What happened when Patrick Ewing was rested, the Celtics just took control of the game and ended up with this nice lead going into the fourth quarter.
Well, Patrick is back in there now as quarter number 4 is about to get underway. Sidney Green, Kenny Walker, Trent Tucker, and the rookie Mark Jackson complete the New York 5 on the court. McHale, Paxson, Parish, Minifield, and Bird for the Celtics. And here we go, final quarter in game 1 of this best-of-5 series for the Boston Garden. Minifield, Paxson, back to Minifield. He's double-teamed. Gets it away to McHale, back out to Paxson. Look at that passing. With just 4 seconds left on the shot clock, McHale the rebound. Won't go for him. New York gets a rebound. Sidney Green.
Parish was wide open. Kevin missed him, but Paxson tried to make a great pass and almost accomplished it.
They give it to Patrick back outside to Mark Jackson. He's going to try it from 3-point territory, and he missed everything.
There's that 3-point shot again. You shoot it quick on the clock, you're going to live and die by it.
So Boston up by 7. A chance to make it a 9-point edge here.
You know, the Knicks have got to shoot the ball from the outside, and I understand the theory of the 3-point shot. But boy, it's really tough when you count on a guy like Johnny Newman to shoot the outside shot, and he has the off night for this first game.
Kenny Walker called for his 4th.
Here's a great drive by Bird. Again, going for the foul, not necessarily the score. He feels the contact, he grunts, he groans, he makes sure he gets to the line because he knows he's going to make every free throw.
I wonder how many games since Larry Bird has been a Boston Celtic, he has been the only Celtic to have missed a free throw going into the early minutes of the fourth quarter.
Not many times.
23 points tonight for Bird. He's 9 of 10 from the line. It's a 9-point Boston lead.
Dirk Minifield is in the game, and he's about the only Celtic who can put pressure full court on Jackson.
Ewing gets it back out to Jackson. Jackson kind of changed his shot at the last minute. It cost him, but Ewing gets it back, working underneath against Parish, and he couldn't get it to fall. Parish the rebound.
That's the first time Parish did not go for Ewing's up fake. He didn't go for two of them, and Ewing missed the shot.
Celtics up by 9, 10.5 minutes remaining in the game.
Come on!
Patrick Ewing causing Robert Parish all kinds of problems there.
Ewing has really been a factor in shot blocking tonight. He has more blocked shots than the whole front line of Boston put together. McHale, Parish, and Bird.
Ewing finished third in the NBA regular season in block shots behind Keaton and Benoit Benjamin.
Well, there's something different. They're posting Jackson up against Minifield. That ought to be something different.
Now with 9 points, Boston a 7-point lead. 9:55 to go. Dennis Johnson getting ready to check back into the game for the Celtics. McHale on the green. Ewing, they're going to call goaltending.
I don't believe Patrick had to touch that shot. I thought that shot was short. He probably just should have let it go. Not take it above the rim, but take it below the rim. Let's see if this is even going to draw iron. I don't think so. It
21
like
now for McHale. Into Sidney Green. Operating over McHale. McHale with a block on a recovery. Kevin McHale has been a big factor for the Celtics here in the second half.
Since the foot injury, Kevin has not been as active defensively or in the shot blocking part of the game. That was a big block by him there.
Parish, after Ewing went for the fake, scores his 14th. New York's going to take a timeout as the Boston Celtics are beginning to do their thing here at the Garden. Perfect Play is brought to you by Polaroid Spectra System. Hold the picture in your hand while the feeling is still in your heart.
We talked about Ewing's great up fake. I think Parish has learned something from him, or he says, I got one of my own, big fella. Take a look at this. Shows him the ball, then scores it.
9:08 remaining in the game. Boston steal by Dennis Johnson. The Celtics were 36-5 during the regular season here in the Garden. They won their last 7 games of the regular season at home. They and the Lakers had the best home records. Kevin McHale has taken this game over. 23 points for McHale. A 13-point Boston lead. Walker. Parish the rebound. Celtics controlling things on both ends.
That was a nice play by the Knicks. There's a better one by Boston. 20-second timeout by Patino. He's got to break the momentum of the Celtics or he's going to lose it right here. Nice timeout by Rick.
8:22 is the time remaining.
Look at Dennis Johnson. What a pass. Back door to Bird. In hard. Over Ewing. Scores 2.
The Celtics have outscored the Knicks 10-2 in the first 3.5 minutes of this final quarter.
There it is again. Boy, the greatness of Dennis Johnson. I hope the fans can see that. Larry Bird is on the gravy end, but it happened because of Dennis Johnson.
And now an interesting move made by Rick Pitino. He's brought Cedric Toney back into the backcourt. You remember in the first half, Toney came in and struck for 3 quick three-pointers.
Going to be a little different on that shot now. Before they didn't need the 3. Now they're going to start to really need it. We'll see if the pressure applies.
A block shot. The Celtics have it back. McHale blocked it. Parish pulled it away.
Boston has really jammed the inside up now. The Knicks have not been able to hit that open shot. They're going to have to do it because the Celtics ain't nothing inside right now.
Parish to Bird. 6 seconds left on the shot clock. Paxson drew the foul.
Well, there's a marriage made in heaven. Those two guys. Bird, one of the greatest passers in the game. Paxson, one of the great guys who move without the ball in our game today.
Paxson will be at the line. He has 8 points tonight. While he shoots his free throws, we'll tell you that this program is authorized under rights granted by the National Basketball Association solely for the entertainment of our audience. Any publication, reproduction, or other use of the pictures, descriptions, or accounts of this game without the express written consent of the National Basketball Association is prohibited. Ewing and Bird with quite a collision there.
I think it might have been a little more than a collision.
7:40, the time left in the game. Boston leading it by 15. Game 1 in the best-of-5 series. New York has scored only 2 points in this quarter, but Kenny Walker gets his 6th point and put the Boston lead back down to 13. Paxson for McHale. 25 points for Kevin McHale, the Celtics by 15.
But a play was made by Jimmy Paxson. Here was a guy that they couldn't find any playing time for the Portland Trailblazers, and yet he's been a great factor in the game
tonight. That was Paxson again on the block from behind, and he finishes the other end. McHale's kept. The Celtics are pulling away, and the New York Knicks are running out of time. 6:57 remaining. Timeout, New York. It is all Boston. There's your score. Boston by 17. They're on a 23-5 run right now that's turned this game around, Don.
Here's Jimmy Paxson, slow of foot, but he has a great change of speed. He goes from slower to not quite so slow and makes a very nice basketball play.
There were about 3 minutes to go in quarter number 3. New York was still very much in this game. Then the Celtics began to turn it on. 23-5. They've outscored the Knicks since then. 14-4 in this quarter. And the Celtic break, a big part of it, along with that defense. Another New York turnover.
This is not the time for the Knicks to turn the ball over, obviously. They not only have to keep possession, they have to score on every possession now.
Johnson working against Tony. Dennis Johnson won't get the basket, but they're going to call the foul on Kenny Walker.
And there's another great up fake. I'm telling you, you young kids who are watching this game tonight, you make sure that in your game that you develop an up fake. Without it, you can't hardly exist in the game. There's Dennis Johnson. Show him the ball. Use your dribble. Take it to the hole. Get me 3 points. Yes, Dennis Johnson.
And everybody was questioning whether Johnson was ready to go for these playoffs. Would his shoulder bother him? Well, the answer tonight, 15 points and 9 assists to this point of the game. He just missed his first free throw of the night.
He's such a fantastic player. He plays both ends of the court. He's always been one of our great defenders in the game. But now he plays point guard, he plays off guard, he shoots the ball, he drives it. What doesn't this guy do? He can play the game at a very slow level. It looks like he's almost walking, but yet he's staying right up with fast players.
16 now for Dennis Johnson. An 18-point Boston lead. You saw Mark Jackson has checked back in, replacing Tony. Kenny Walker has 8.
It's a great move by McHale under the basket on a sliding stop.
But the Celtics still very much in control of this thing. 97-81. The Knicks really need a big run here if they're going to get back in it.
There's a guy, Rick Pitino. He'll never give up. He's going to battle the whole night long.
McHale to Bird. Bird from long range. Yes.
I wouldn't give Larry Bird an open shot if I were the Knicks. You can give somebody else one, but I wouldn't give Larry Bird an open one.
He now has 27. The Celtics leading it by 18. Walker. And the rebound pulled away by Bird.
There's the lack of outside shooting by the Knicks. There's not a whole lot they can do with it to try to improve on it, maybe through the draft. But they have to do the best they can do right now. They're playing one of the great sag defenses of all time, the Boston Celtics.
Green called for the personal. Celtics have it. Bird down to McHale against the New York press, which hasn't stopped the Celtics in the second half. Boston up by 18. 5.5 minutes to go in the game.
We really haven't seen the New York Knicks press as yet. That was a poor imitation of it. When they really want to get after you, they can get after you. They're going to have to do that pretty soon.
Bird into Johnson. Tried to hit McHale underneath. And the Celtics turn it over. Atlanta up by 1 game in that best-of-5 series at Milwaukee. It's only the 9th Boston turnover, by the way.
It's still going to be a great series, though, that Atlanta-Milwaukee series.
Gerald Wilkins now with 21. And now we're going to see that New York press. But the short, crisp passes that beat it is something that the Celtics do so well. Kevin McHale.
Well, if you're going to press, let's press. Let's not let Kevin McHale take 4 dribbles and score an easy basket without double teaming him.
29 points now for McHale. 101-83. Some great defense being played by the Celtics in the second half.
Yes, and that was Kenny Walker's fault. He should have been in a position to score that quicker. You see the slow gather. He's too far away from the basket. By the time he gathers, there's the shot blockers all over him.
Green sits down now for the New York Knicks. Johnny Newman checks back in.
McHale's presence on the shot block tonight has been as good as I've seen it all season.
There you see the run the Celtics are on. Johnny Newman has struggled tonight. Only 2 of 9 from the field. Another Knick turnover.
Yes, he's not played with much confidence tonight. He's got to get that out of his system. I think he should probably have a talk with Rick Pitino and just say, hey, look, play your best. Don't worry about anything. Go out there and be positive.
Boy, Johnson almost guilty of carrying it there. Roberts, who's checked back in for Boston. Nice pass underneath the Paxson by Robert Parish.
Jimmy Paxson was one of our great players for many years. He's an older player now. He has found new life with the Boston Celtics like so many people before him.
Paxson now with 10 points. We've got 4 minutes remaining in the game. Boston up by 20. Mark Jackson gets into double figures. That's only the 10th point of the half by New York.
Here's the press. Let's see how serious they are and how the Celtics handle it. They're toying with it. They're spreading it. They're patient. Nice job, Celtics.
There's the turnover.
Got it anyway.
Steal by Jackson. They have a break going, and Dennis Johnson fouls Mark Jackson.
Very wise foul. You know, he's one of our brighter players, Dennis Johnson. He knew that they were going to score on the play. He took the foul early because he knew they were not in the bonus yet. So now all the Knicks get is the ball out of bounds on the side. Another great decision by Dennis Johnson.
That is the first team foul in this 4th quarter. 8 minutes and 26 into it. Newman got that one to go under the foul.
If that could have happened for this young man in the first quarter instead of the 4th quarter, he may have been a factor tonight. Unfortunately, it's just too late for him for tonight.
103-87. Second team foul against the Celtics. Newman was 1 for 2 from the line. Good free throw shooter during the regular season, 84%.
You know, I hope Rick lets Johnny Newman play the rest of the game because it might pay big benefits for the next ball game. If he can gain some momentum from this point on, it might help him tomorrow.
He was called for the foul. I was reading an article today about the Celtics and how they plan to deal with Rick Pitino's pressing style of defense, and I thought the best quote in the article I read was Kevin McHale when he said, well, you know, we do have an offense to beat a press. I guess you must have if you're going to win 57 ball games during the regular season.
That's right, and Boston, of course, is a very intelligent basketball team. They pass the ball very well. They spread it. They know how to beat it. But what we haven't seen is the press very much tonight. Only when they've been in big trouble, which is now, have we seen it.
Artis Gilmore at the line, seeking his first points of the night.
The big fella, it's all over for you. You've got your last hurrah. You have a chance to win a championship. I hope you're going to be a big factor somewhere along the line.
3:18 left. There's your score. Boston up by 16. Newman sandwiched between Gilmore and Bird.
There's a Artis Gilmore rebound, big time rebound. That's what he's got to do for him. He's got to go get the ball. He's got to block his shot. He doesn't have to score a whole lot, but just take advantage of opportunities when they come.
And Mark Jackson called for the foul. He's okay, getting up now after being shaken up a little bit.
Go get it, Artis. Yes, just like the old days.
Gilmore will go back to the line. Jackson's all right. He stays in the game.
It's interesting with the big lead that Larry is still in the game, but I believe in that same philosophy. You don't take a chance in the playoffs of losing a lead and all of a sudden the Knicks could go on a binge and get back in the ball game. When you're ahead, you want to make sure that you put them away.
And the Celtics in the process of doing that right now. Gilmore now with 2 points. 3:05 remaining. Boston up by 17. This game did not turn, though, until about 2.5 minutes were left in the third quarter. The Knicks stayed in it till then. Newman just can't get anything going. And remember that big first half rebounding advantage New York had?
Yes.
It's going to be that way in the second half.
Don't believe it's going to be close the second half.
The Celtics have really controlled the boards in quarters 3 and 4.
You know, part of the reason that the Celtics are not a good offensive rebounding team, they're one of the worst in the league, was the fact that they shot over 50% from the field. So there's not a lot of offensive rebounds. But it is a part of their game, although there aren't a lot of offensive rebounds that they can improve upon.
See how Larry Bird tipped that ball out to Johnson?
There's the mismatch. Look at how the Celtics are extending. They're trying to get an illegal defense. They could call it if they wanted to right now, but he's just taking his time. There's Paxson without the ball and another score. Boy, what a factor this young man is going to be for the Celtics.
Paxson now with 12. Boston up by 19. Newman trying from 3. Another Boston rebound. It's Paxson pulling it down.
I'll guarantee you that the Celtics will be taking their time now, every single time down the court, unless they have something awful good.
Controlling the tempo. Again, they isolate Bird and Newman.
They're going to make New York double team him, or he's just going to hold it till he scores.
Puts the shot up over Newman. Wouldn't fall for him. Walker pulls away the rebound. Less than 2 minutes to play now. Boston with a 19-point lead.
Okay, I think you better give the Knicks credit, though. They really did come to play. They got beat in the fourth quarter and part of that third, but they came with a tremendous game plan. I think their best team is when Cartwright and Ewing play together. I think that is really a dynamite team against the Celtics.
Wilkins now at 24 points, 107-91. A minute 28 remaining.
The player of the game, you could give it to almost anybody. What do you think?
We'll talk it over. Well, I talk it over.
All right.
A minute 23 remaining. And the Boston Celtics are going to be 1-0 in this best of 5
Take
series.
a look at the great passing here. Dennis Johnson again. We're moving without the ball. Over the shoulder to Bird. Fouls. You know, in Bird's greatness, he doesn't always try to score the ball until after he's been fouled. He makes sure that the defense has to foul him before he even attempts to put it in the hole.
Just a remarkable player. 109-91. Bird with 29.
You know, Bird has been awful good tonight. Dennis Johnson has been a star in my eyes. And I think probably the biggest factor in the game has been a healthy and ready Kevin McHale. I would have to vote for Kevin McHale for player of the game.
Brad Lohaus getting some playing time now. Cartwright sends it back outside to Cedric Toney, who hit 3 of those in the first half, but nothing falling for the Knicks in the second half. 109-91.
Here we see Louis Orr for the first time. Very proud player that's been riddled with injuries over his career. Keep hustling, Knicks. That's the way. Keep trying. Don't give up on him.
Celtics have all the kids in there. Lewis, Akers, and Lohaus, now Dirk Minifield. And one guy who you can't call a kid anymore, Artis Gilmore. Lewis had his shot blocked, but we get a whistle.
Well, I'll tell you, nobody ever has any respect for you unless you just continue to try and play as hard as you can all the time. And I think the Knicks are gaining respect at this point from the Celtics. They're not going to give up.
Reggie Lewis, who averaged 4.5 points a game in his rookie year with the Celtics. They found him right around the corner here at Northeastern University.
Lohaus is in the game, too. I have to say something for the Iowa guys. Go Iowa, go you Hawkeyes.
110-91. San Antonio Spurs, Los Angeles Lakers. Coming up next, Skip Carey, Steve Jones standing by to bring you that one from the Forum. As the waning moments of this game. Lewis, Lohaus.
Nice play by 2 kids that haven't gotten a lot of time. Very nice.
Lohaus, his first playoff points.
How about those Iowa guys? Maybe MVP for Lohaus. What do you think? Go you Hawkeyes.
Lewis Orr and all kinds of traffic through the foul. As garbage time has arrived here in game 1. But I agree, Don. The Knicks have nothing to be ashamed of. They're not going to win this game, certainly, and they're going to lose by a decisive amount. But they showed in the first 2 quarters and about 9 minutes of the third quarter they could stay with the Celtics. They just have to work it a little harder in Sunday's game.
Well, you know where they lost it is when they were resting Ewing, and that has to be done. You cannot play Patrick Ewing all the minutes of the game. And when they rested him, the advantage went to Boston, and they never regained it the entire fourth quarter.
The series will then go back to New York, of course, for Game 3.
Here's a little 2-2-1, trying to get a steal. Keep hustling, Knicks. That's the way.
Field lost the ball to go back to New York, but time has just about run out here on the Knicks. And the Boston Celtics will be 1-up in this best-of-5 series. Wilkins tipped by Cartwright, and there's the ball game.
Still a great game.
The Boston Celtics had to struggle in the first half, had to struggle for about 9 minutes of the third quarter, but then that Celtic magic came along, and Boston wins by 20. And we'll be back with our player of the game right after this. There's your final score from the Boston Garden, 112-92. The Celtics go 1-up in the best-of-5 series. And, Don, we talked about it throughout the game. The Knicks hung in there until late in the third quarter. That's when the Celtics turned it around, and they did it with players who have been there before.
They really did, and when the Knicks went down, of course, Patrick Ewing was being rested. They never really recovered. Then the outside shot was never there in the fourth quarter. They shot it very well the first half and kept them in. Their open court game was good. Game plan was good, but they just couldn't finish it up in the fourth quarter.
Okay, one thing different about the playoffs, when you lose your opening game, 2 days later you're right back in the same building playing the same ball club. What adjustments now do the Knicks have to make things a little more competitive against the Celtics in Game 2?
Well, Johnny Newman has got to come on and get the outside shot. He's one of their better outside shooters, and he's going to have to play better for them to win. I like the combination, if they're going to play a half-court game, of Cartwright and Ewing playing together. I think that's an important factor in the ball game. And other than that, they just have to regroup, regain their confidence, and go after them again.
And I guess for Boston, it's just be the Boston Celtics that you've been all year.
It's to play better in the early going. I think the Knicks were afraid of that first quarter, and Boston never really scared them.
Now let's take a look at our Miller Lite player of the game, and tonight that'll be Kevin McHale, who put in 29 points, pulled down 10 rebounds, blocked 5 shots, was a big factor when the Celtics broke this game open. And on behalf of Miller Lite, Turner Broadcasting, proud to donate $1,000 to the Multiple Sclerosis Foundation in his name.
It's a good choice, Kevin McHale. He had a wonderful game, and the shot block is back. That's 5 big blocks for Kevin McHale. That's an important part. You know, when you look at another player that made a tremendous contribution, Jimmy Paxton, I thought was a big factor in that turnaround where he started to play well in the end of the third and into the fourth quarter. That's when the Celtics were really good.
Well, now it's almost an impossible task for the Knicks. They have to beat the Celtics 3 out of 4 in this best-of-5 series if they want to win it. That'll do it from the Boston Garden. Don, enjoyed working with you. Hope we get a chance to do it again in these NBA playoffs. Skip Carey, Steve Jones standing by in Los Angeles. They'll be bringing you the Lakers and the Spurs next. For Don Nelson, I'm Pete Van Wieren from the Boston Garden, where in Game 1 it was the Celtics 112, the New York Knicks 92. So long, everyone.